boy, Calvin Ridley here. Everyone's heard about it, but we're going to do a little what-if situation because there's a lot to unravel here, and we want to get into it. So Pete Rose obviously did a little gambling in his time and was banned from baseball, MLB. Just completely
just for fast. So we used to do this as a regular segment. This used to be part of our normal thing, and we've kind of gotten away from it. So we're going to get back into this thing that we call What If Wednesday. We're streaming on Wednesday, so let's talk about it. What if Wednesday? And then yes, Calvin Ridley.
What if this happened in the Pete Rose era? Because right now, look, he's getting a year of suspension, and there's two sides. Well, kind of one side. There's a lot of people that are supporting Calvin in this, which to me is a little strange. He's getting a lot of like, hey, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. How is he getting a year? It's a simple measly $1,500. It's a bet. Blah 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 blah. Yes, I see what you're saying. The other part of it though is, there's rules in place for a reason. You broke the rules.
Look, you broke the rules. Look, and not only did you break the rules, you broke a rule that there's already an iconic stamp of someone who did this before in the way that sports has treated them. Like the way that the sports world has treated this person who made this mistake. There's no reason in the world, as a professional athlete, you should dare put your toe in this water. The reason that they made this guy such an example is so that no one does it again.
Speaking of Pete Rose.
We are. Yes, speaking of Pete Rose.
I think Pete Rose, obviously, essentially got the death penalty in what he did. I think it was obviously a little bit bigger than $1,500. Which is only what we're seeing now for Calvin Ridley. But there's two parts to this. Number one, rules are rules. You broke the rules. So everyone's like pissed about him getting the season a week. Even Muddy said it's bogus. I don't think it's bogus. Here's why. Hold on. Here's why I do think it's bogus. Because this guy's getting a year suspension while we've got people that are beating women. We got Sean Payton doing bounties, right? That are getting the same timeline. So if you look at it from that perspective, yeah, I totally agree with you. It's complete bogus. But I don't think the suspension. I think the bogus part is how we're handling the other situations, the wife beatings, the bounties. Those are the right. That's where the issue is, right? We're comparing the same thing where it's we've got murder and car theft, and we're given the same sentence. That's kind of where the issue lies. I don't think the issue lies with what he got, but it looks like an issue because the issue is actually over here. It's not with what Calvin Ridley did. It doesn't matter if it's $1, $2, $3. And the other part of it is, hold on. No betting doesn't matter if it's okay. Go ahead.
To your point, I mean, look. Let's just break this thing down, and because a lot of people, and you and I have talked about it, a lot of people are saying, well, all he did was bet on his team. He bet on his team.
No, he did 8-game parlays. It wasn't just his team. His team was always part of the parlays, but it wasn't just his team.
So this in the reason why this matters for folks who aren't like super involved in sports, and I think a lot of these guys are, but I guess the point and the reason why this is such a bad thing is because even if you bet on your team and you bet on your team to win, it doesn't mean that you bet on your team to cover. Right? I'm not a gambling guy, but if the Falcons are favored by 21 and you are up by 20 and Calvin Ridley has money on his own team to win, but if I catch this touchdown pass, I'm gonna lose. Right? I've gone with the under or the over. There's too much.
Well, if you bet on the under, then you would want to drop the ball.
So you drop the ball. Or, for example, if you have friendships outside of the game itself and you tell your buddy, hey, I've got 50 grand running on this, maybe we just don't let ourselves go over or under a certain amount. Like it disrupts the concept of a player who's involved in the game to have an immediate impact on the actual outcome itself. You can't do it. In stock world, that's called insider trading. And you go to jail for it. You go to jail for it. Martha Stewart's gone to jail for it. I mean, I could go down a list. I'm not going to do it. But Martha Stewart's the one everybody knows, right? Old girl just got out of jail about 5 or 6 years ago. But you have to understand that once you are in an industry, you cannot bet and leverage against your own self. If you're the CEO of a company, you can't hedge your own bets against your own company. It's illegal. It's the difference. It's against the law in most places. In sports, it is against the most common and most understood law. You do not gamble on sports if you are an athlete. Dennis Rodman loved Vegas. I remember I read his books. I watched him when he was famous. The dude lived in Vegas. He loved it. But you know what he did? He played blackjack. He played craps. He played all
Michael
kinds
Jordan's
of
a big
things.
gambler. Michael Jordan's a big
He
gambler.
is. But you know what he never did? Never once. Even when things got a little dicey.
You don't know. You don't know.
Well, hold on. But never was he dumb enough to do it to the point where it's going to show up in the NFL or the NBA.
Let me go for a sec. So I was kind of heavy against. I always there's a lot of people saying like who cares if he bets on his team, and I've always been kind of that like who gives a shit. The Pete Rose thing to me was always a big thing. Pete Rose to me, I guess you can make the same argument about covering. Again, I never thought about it from a covering perspective, right? Because if you're Pete Rose and again you're picking your team to win by the over, right? By 2 or whatever.
Or the under.
Or you cover, you take your team, but you take the under. And
you maybe missed your slide to home. Oh, I missed it by 3 feet.
Yeah, you get yourself out on purpose.
Why are you bunting with 1 out and nobody on?
Yeah, so that part I understand. I don't know, man. It sucks because again, I think it's a little bit. I lost my train of thought there. It's a little frustrating because again, I get where everyone's coming from. I don't disagree with the suspension because right now there is a rule, right? The rule is like, hey, you can't do this. So regardless whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, that doesn't matter. So to me, I'm completely okay with the suspension. First of all, second of all, allowing gambling or not gambling, you made some solid points on the covering the point situation. I've always been like, look, if you just make the bet like, hey, I'm picking us to win, I don't see an issue with that at all. At all. If you simply just keep it to, hey, I'm picking these guys to win, I don't really feel like it's insider trading. I mean, Vegas, if anybody has insider trading, right? I mean, they know these teams inside and out. That's why they have the covers, the spreads. They know what they're doing. They already have the insider trading to an extent. So I think there's some kind of already a pulse on it. If Vegas was spot on, they would never lose, and they do lose. So I don't know. It's one person.
But think about it. Think about a Vegas shark. Think about a Vegas guy who works for a casino, who's already seen that a player is willing to gamble on his own team just to win, win or lose, right? And I'm always all in. Right? As a player, I'm always all in. You don't think that guy can get in his ear? Hey, you've been gambling here for a minute on winning. What if we did it this way? That's the reason that you just can't.
I hear you.
That it has to be two separate things.
I agree.
The players in the league, and then the betting has to stay away from each other, or else what will happen is what happened in the NBA when that referee, I want to say Donahue, that caused a huge amount of that bust had veins.
That was huge.
Multiple
here's
organizations. It's just you just can't do it. Keep it away. Let them be separate. You can't do it.
There's 2 parts that are annoying me on this. Why it's such a big conversation is kind of frustrating me. One, because it is only $1,500, right? So like it doesn't really matter. He broke the rules. Regardless if you agree or disagree with the rules, rules are rules, right? I used to work at Publix. You couldn't have a beard. Simple as that. If you don't like it, fucking go home. The door's that way. right? So I hated it. I could not stand it. I wanted a beard, couldn't have one. Just make your choice, Sheldon. Either you stay or go, right? And I think these players get too much of an ego, anyways, as it is. So I'm frustrated with that we're talking about it like it's wrong that he got the suspension. No, it's not. It's fine. Number two, I think that there should. You made some good points why they shouldn't bet, and I'm kind of move on from that. The third part, what's frustrating me, is this guy quit halfway through the season because of mental health issues. Right, that was his reason for quitting, and now this comes out, and then when he tweeted, he goes, "Oh, it's only a year. I'll be back. Like I don't care that it's just a year." Well, you quit halfway through the season last year, so I don't understand like why now we feel sorry for you. Because you were having mental stuff, but clearly you weren't. You were out here gambling, partying. Like, how serious was it? You know what I mean? Like, did you just, I don't know. Like, you just don't really care is what it tells me. You got paid millions. I'm going to go hang out and chill. Like, I don't know. It's not a good look. That, to me, should be where the criticism's coming from. It shouldn't be towards the NFL. It shouldn't be questioning the betting. It should be questioning this guy's commitment to the game. If I'm Falcons, I'm releasing his ass.
I'm done with him. Look, especially... These guys they have guaranteed money. Now I know that they put their bodies on the line and they risk in their careers only have a certain lifetime. That's only if you're playing. You abandoned your team and then you spent your time in Vegas and then you're going to say that it was because of mental health. There's no mental health issue.
And now you're hurting your team. You're hurting your team for another year. That's counting on you. You're holding not holding a roster spot, but
I think the Falcons under the current rules of his contract should be able to just outright cut him. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want the fucking guy back.
No, I think that's where the conversation should be. To be honest with you, that's what's got me fired
where was
up.
Calvin Ridley when Henry Ruggs needed a designated driver?
Yeah, so you weren't doing anything. I don't know. That's
you were just hanging out.
That's got me more fired up than any of this stuff. The other stuff I could get two shits about. I mean, like, look, you broke a rule. It is what it is. I'm cool with this.
Hey, but that's the thing. Look, Pete Rose
got fucked. I think that one was a little aggressive, but